Hello everyone, welcome to a new episode of Show Me Your Build. If you want to participate, because I know there's a few people that have joined more or less recently since the last time I've done one, there will be a Discord in the description below. So, yeah, as per usual, make sure to read the pin. The pin has all the information on it. I'm pointing this out because there are so many people that just post builds without giving the full information on it. And I'm just sitting here, I can't do anything with you because you just refuse to take some of the steps. So, yeah. All that to say, just basically be careful. Now, let's move to the analysis, shall we? First off with Bishnir's Fur. And he says, here's my bootleg Ira in progress. She also has a Bond version of this set, and I'm thinking about having DC or something on her. I also don't know which assist to give her. Same for the C slot, maybe Repo for the assist. Okay. So, first off, Repo sounds about right. Maybe no, Repo is better for her. I was going to say swap, but that's more like an Ira thing, because Ira actually has the bulk for it. Now, when it comes down to the set, it works pretty well. You mentioned Distant Counter. Distant Counter is not a bad choice either. However, there is one problem with Distant Counter. Her attack is a bit low, and honestly, she will struggle if dealing with mages, because Moonbow doesn't do that much damage on units that don't have enough, you know, defense. So there's quite a few blues that you just won't be able to kill, and a few reds that also will be fairly threatening. If you're going to go with Distant Counter, you have to make sure that this is a +10 unit you're going to invest in. Maybe with even 5 Dragon Flowers, so you have an extra 1 to all stats, which is pretty helpful. And pretty cheap also for infantry units. Other than this, I would say C skill and also to some extent Seal skill. Ploys, obviously. Again, if you go for +10, you're going to hit 36 res if you also use the Dragon Flower to improve your res. So 36 res becomes fairly consistent when it comes down to Ploys. Even Speed Wave is not bad either. I'm guessing you only have one because you killed a Karlef or Wrath 1, 2, 3 and then had even Speed Wave as leftovers. Even Speed Wave or any way to buff your speed would be good from any other unit than herself. Because when it comes down to Fur, she likes to support your entire party with Ploys. You can just support your bonus unit in Arena, for example, with Attack Def Ploy, or Attack Rest Ploy, or Attack Speed Ploy, or Speed Rest Ploy. Like, you can just basically do whatever you want. And in her own case, Attack and Def Ploy are the main ones. I would say they might even be better than Brazen, because at the end of the day, if you have Attack Ploy and Def Ploy, that works from the get-go. It does not matter what your HP threshold is. Brazen do. So at least have Attack Ploy in your C skill, maybe Def Ploy in the Seal skill, but Brazen might be better. It comes down to what you feel is going to be better for the unit. As for any other thing, I think that's about it. The rest of the set looks pretty fine. It's kind of hard to go wrong. You basically took the set I have on my Ira outside of Drive Attack and the Rally I use on Ira because, I mean, it's Ira and Fur plays in a very, very, very similar way. So, alright. Let's move on. This is Melidonus's Attack plus Kagero. Wow, that's a tongue twister. And he says, this is Kagero's arena build. She is meant to significantly soften enemies for my bonus unit to take out. I do have some trouble poking insanely fast units such as Legendary Tiki. I'm just wondering if there's anything else I can use to make her fulfill that role better without compromising scoring or building a new Kagero. Oh, it's pretty easy actually. I would change the seal to attack speed bond. Now, bonds are not really consistent when it comes down to using offensive units, but since this is more like an arena cheerleader, it works fairly well. Because it's more of a, you get a hit in, and then you move the bonus unit in the range of the enemy, kill the unit, and possibly deal with the rest. Kagero is not meant to take a hit here, so just moving someone else on the team near Kagero, so you know, Kagero gets the bond skill, then move to attack, then kill with the bonus unit, is fairly okay. Attack speed bond also is fairly good for just making wind sweep more consistent, especially with legendary Tiki, as you mentioned earlier. I believe you also will get another point of speed with the next Dragon Flower, so you should be about at 47 speed, which means 46 speed or higher will just, well, get wind swept. Outside of, well, at the same time there's dragons, and dragons you will need water sweep for. I guess it comes down to what do you think your bonus unit will need most. You can alternate between wind sweep and water sweep as a result. Like, for example, if you're using Barst, if you're like, let's say the legendary unit, the bonus unit is Barst. You will want water sweep instead of wind sweep because Barst is good enough to deal with anything physical like it's nothing. The dude hits like over 40 defense, so he can do everything himself without the help of someone that can poke them. But when it comes down to mages, or rather, more importantly, dragons, armored dragons like legendary Tiki, Halloween Myr, then that becomes a problem. Attack speed bond is still good with wind sweep because of Zelgius. I guess we don't really see him all that much anymore, but it's still worth mentioning. Poison strike might be better otherwise if you feel like you don't have any problem with Zelgius with your bonus unit. But like I said, water sweep might be better than wind sweep nowadays. It's just the way the meta has shifted, I guess, at this point. Wind sweep will still be good now with an extra unit, that being Kaingeus, because he has just DC when he's transformed, though so far it won't be too much of a problem, because the thing with Kaingeus is the amount of unit that can be near him allow him to transform and have March at the same time are like 5. There's Grima, there's Halloween Myr, there's Idun, there's legendary Tiki, and Winterfell, I guess. I think that's about it. And himself, I guess, if you have multiple, but yeah, you get the idea. I guess it comes down to really, like I said, it comes down to what you think is the biggest problem. And switch back and forth. I would also try to switch an odd attack wave to something else, because attack tactic is really easy to get. And you could just run Gwen and Sheena as the other 2 unit of your team. That opens rooms for attack tactic, death tactic, rest tactic, 2 of which are seal, and one of it, and the last one being on a 3 to 4 star. At that point, speed waves would be ideal for your C skill, because those are actually far more difficult to get. I see you have Rally Death Rest Plus, so I guess ideally you'd want speed tactic on one and attack tactic on another, or I guess march on one. I guess if you have Speed Wave, that would be ideal to have in the C skill for Kagero, and then attack tactic on one of the 2 armored units. And I guess even then, Death and Rest tactic are not too bad. Because if you have Death and Rest tactic as the seal slot, it opens up Kagero as in you don't need Kagero to rally you to have the extra stat for enemy phase, you already have them. So it's still worth mentioning. Also, if you want more score, you might want to ditch Blazing Wind for Arena. Switch it to Aether, because Blazing Wind is more SP cost than something like Moonbow, but it's like 300. Aether is 500. That's 2 BST bid higher. Other than that, I can't see anything else I would change. The rest looks pretty fine. So, let's move on. From one ninja to another, this is Ellie Bell's Kaze, Attack Plus. So this is my Kaze. I have him with different builds as well with Close Counter and Brazen. Really enjoy using him, mostly in AR since most units are mages or dragons. I have been thinking about using dual range on him as well. Sadly, Vintage doesn't work with his weapon though. Okay, Sky Myogi is for, I believe, armored units, is it? Might as well verify just to make sure. Yeah, effective against armored foes. I see you don't have Mystic Boost. So since you don't have Mystic Boost, here's what I would do. Instead of Death Blow, I would run Sturdy Impact. If you don't have that, Sturdy Blow is a good idea as well. The whole reason behind it is then if you have to deal with anything like DC or anything of the sort, you can't take a hit. Mystic Boost might also be a good idea on top of it. Because, say you have 30 Impact, and then you're buff with Death Tactic. You have 40 defense and 46 res. 47 res, sorry. That's really good. But, if you have Mystic Boost, you have a way to heal yourself also. And then if you run something like Aether with Flashing Blade, you can just be like, hit, get hit, hit. Heal yourself by 6 after combat, because you have probably killed the enemy at that point. And then on the next fight, you just proc Aether immediately, getting yourself back up to full. And then you can repeat the process, because Aether will probably kill the enemy if it's an armored unit. Other than this, Iceberg is still a decent choice, regardless of what you do. And yeah, maybe Mystic Boost, like I said, because if you're dealing with dragons, it makes them hit your res instead of your def, which is really good. But as I said also, it allows you to heal yourself back up. So the Flashing Blade loop becomes a lot more consistent. Because then you can just hit, get hit, and proc. But you can do that more than once a map because Mystic Boost just keeps healing you up. And that's the difference here. That's the big difference that makes it so much better. If you decide to use him as a baiter, Attack Death Bond might also be a good ace slot. But I wouldn't recommend it over Sturdy Blow, since you're more used to using him offensively. Chill Def is not bad, but the problem when it comes down to chills in general is that it might just chills a unit you don't give a shit about. Like, say you're dealing with 5 unit, and it chilled the unit that is the most in the back. Do you care? Does that help? No. And by the time you get to the unit, to the point where you can actually debuff the right unit, you gain nothing out of it. And that's the problem. It's not helpful consistently enough. That's why I don't tend to really run chill skills. I know I ran a chill skill in my Gem Key arena run, which might get on YouTube tomorrow. I don't know, dude. I still have to do the thumbnail. Honestly, that's the only thing that's stopping me from just uploading it as is, but you know. But yeah, as much as I use a chill myself, it's just because I lack other options. And frankly, because I never would run that kind of V skill outside of arena. Special Spiral is also a good idea if you just want him to just take a hit and proc. Like if you're dealing with multiple mages, that way you're going to just get hit and then proc immediately. But I wouldn't recommend it over Mystic Boost. Because at the end of the day, you already double them more often than not. The only one I can think you might not double is Ishtar, because a weapon. And if you double them, you just get hit back, and then hit back again. The only thing that Special Spiral might do over what you have right now is opening your seal slot, and that would allow you to run Attack Def Bond on a more defensively oriented set. Or Attack Res Bond, a skill with Attack Def Bond seal skill. Really, there's multiple ways to go about it, but I guess it's more food for thought than anything. Let's move on though. Alright, this is the Lamb's legendary Ryoma, who is also Attack Plus. And he says... So this is the infamous Ryoma. For those who don't know, I believe Lamb wanted to go for Halloween Myrrh, did not get a single copy, but got like 5 legendary Ryomas, so we kind of decided to work on him at the end of the day. But let's move on. I'm looking for some other builds to try. I have Life and Death as well, but since I got quite a few Celica, I decided to go all out. I have a new set with Wadao plus Blazing Wind, Armor Smasher, and Slaying Edge. By the way, Slaying Edge plus Gale Force and Heavy Blade is a good combo, question mark? Yes, it is. It absolutely is, especially on Legendary Ryoma, who actually has an attack stat. So I just want to know which other skill could work best with him. I know Bushido is really good, but some skill sets don't exactly make the best use of it. Also, sorry for the quality. The screenshot I was provided was very small resolution. So it's stretched to shit right now, so that's why it doesn't look too good. So, this is just a Fire Sweep Gale Force set. Obvious problem here, you only get 4 charges. Gale Force requires, well, 5. So, this is why Fire Sweep Gale Force is not a set I would ever recommend to people. It just doesn't help. It just doesn't do any... It just doesn't have... How can I say this? It just doesn't take any of the strength of Legendary Ryoma. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you hit hard, you hit quick, but that's it. That's all you're doing. For Gale Force to work, you basically need to attack, kill, drag back, get dance, kill something else, and then it procs, and then you can maybe kill something else or back the fuck up. And... that's not great. And besides, if you're going to go for all out for score, drag back is 150 SP, horrible for scoring, and Fire Sweep Sword is also 50 SP less than any refined weapon. The 2 best weapons for Legendary Ryoma are Armor Smasher for Arena and Slaying Edge for everywhere else. Like, you can't really use anything else. If you use Slaying, I would say definitely go for Res Refine unless you have no way to buff speed whatsoever on the team you plan to use Ryoma in. Because if you have nothing to buff your speed with, then yeah, the 3 speed will help. But if you have something to buff your speed with, then you already have too much speed. So it's better to actually go for Bulk or Res. Sturdy Impact can be really good also for that very same reason. Because more bulk is always nice. So yeah, maybe switch the weapon to Slaying Edge, refine it to defense or res, because that's honestly the 2 best stat for him. The rest looks fine. Well, the B skill might want to be switched to Desperation, of course. If you don't want, well, no, Desperation is really ideal. If you don't want Desperation, though, you could just go for Sturdy Impact Mystic Boost. Because then you have so much bulk that you can actually sustain yourself. Though I feel like that might be better with Attack Depth solo. Since Ryoma is more the type of character you just throw in. But yeah, the rest looks pretty fine. It's basically what I want to run. Just Slaying Edge plus with the Refine, Gale Force, Sturdy Impact. The B skill, probably Bushido actually. Well, not with Gale Force, of course, but if I decide to run, say, Aether or Moonbow or any 2 cooldown special. Well, if I run a 2 cooldown special, I could go Wodao Bushido with Moonbow, because that's 20 damage on proc, which is not bad at all. Actually, no, I would have to use a 3 cooldown because I would be doing 2 charge, 1 charge after getting hit, and then proc. So something like Luna would be pretty good. Or since you have sturdy impact with that set, Bonfire might be a good option, because then you have Bonfire procs at 40 damage. It's so stupid. I mean, as long as you have enough attack, which, I mean, at +7 with 62 attack. Oh wait, that's without the A skill. With sturdy impact, that would be 68 attack. I think it's consistent enough. I don't know what's telling me this, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably what I would run. Wodao plus Luna, or I guess if it's for Arena, I would maybe switch it to Blue Flames with sturdy impact, Bushido. Guidance, depending on the team. I might change that to something like a Drive or something like that. The C skills are very flexible, so it really comes down to preference. But yeah, moving on. Alright, this is Typho's Def Plus Speed Minus Regal Rabbit Marisa. And he says, this is the Queen Marisa. Wanted to focus on her boon and fix her banes. Should get around 48 defense and 55 speed. With her Link skill active, when she's attacked, which with Goad should get to 52 def and 59 speed. Huh? Goad buffs attack and speed. Ward buffs def and res. I'm not sure what he's saying now. Yeah, pretty good overall. Will merge with another merge. All right. Okay. First of many things. First off, Goad buffs attack and speed, not attack and def. That would require you to run Gold, Ward, and then other things for whatever reason. I don't get it. Anyway. If you want to really use this, what I would say is, first off, you've just mentioned Goads. So, ideally own flyers, because our V skill is kind of worth more than just this. 2, you have way too much speed, dude. Marisa's best bane is speed, because she has too much speed to begin with. Darting stance is unneeded. I would completely remove that, actually. I would switch with attack def bond instead. Because the main problem Marisa has is not having enough speed. No. It's the fact that she has 47 attack. And having 1,000,000 speed will not get you kills. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is basically Olwen. 0 times 4, baby! It's not really going to help you much, is it? Death Smoke is a good idea, fairly admirable, but easily I would just get rid of Darting Stance. Steady Posture is not a bad idea, can combo really well with Bonds. Ideally, I would say get rid of Steady Posture and instead run Attack Def Bond as the A skill, and then Attack Speed Bond as the seal skill. You have 38 def already, so working on your attack instead is a lot better. Well, attack def bond as the A skill, attack speed bond. Well, you have 43 defense with this, unbuffed. So 43 defense with 57 attack. 57 attack is a lot better, isn't it? 61 with Goad. And attack speed bond pushes your speed to 43. And that's without a buff. 43 is already really good. So, yeah. if you really want to keep speed def lane, this also jumps to 49. The defense goes up to 49 defense also. But more importantly, it's really just your attack that jumps up by 10 that way. It's a lot more consistent than what this is, I can tell you that much. Because if she doesn't have attack, even if she procs Bonfire and all, the fact that you run Vanguard and not Slaying means you don't proc Bonfire every turn, which is another reason to jump to Slaying, but I won't continue on that tangent. If you keep Vanguard, you will absolutely want your attack to be higher. Again, like I said, Slaying allows you to proc Bonfire. Bonfire makes you a lot deadlier, and every battle. That's kind of the problem with this Marisa. Since you don't proc every battle, you're kind of just a rock wall that just doesn't do damage. And even when you proc, it's not enough because your base attack is too low. So that's why I'm telling you, running 2 Bond skills that buffs your attack, and just fix your other 2 stats in some manner or bolster it a bit further. It gives you more options, and it's just in general a lot better. Besides, flyers like to stick together in general, so you know, it does not go against what the playstyle is supposed to be. Other than that, don't have much to say. Speed Def Bond could still be replaced by, I guess, Mystic Boost, as I've mentioned quite a few times so far. Just because flyers don't have much option. Other than this, if you decide to use her in a mixed team, you could also run Aerobatics to just teleport to any people. Like, for example, say you're running a dragon. This is kind of what I'm doing with New Year Gunthra, but say you're running a dragon like Halloween Myrrh. With Aerobatics, and like you kill something with Halloween Myrrh, right? With Aerobatics, you can actually teleport to one of the sides of said dragon. So if one of the units is, say, a Falchion, you can just block that side. And if it's not, you can repo the dragon out of there. Or you can just Aerobatics and repo it further to kill something that's further than what she is already. This is how I tend to use New Year Gunthra and Tiki. I might do a showcase at one point. I don't fucking know, dude. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see as time passes, I guess. Because my Gunthra is still not merged. I'm planning on plus-steading her, but that's going to take some time. I believe she will come back not this month, but the month after. I'm going to have an over 3,000 orb summon session for her, but we'll see then. Other than this, yeah, not much. So let's move on. This is Jer's Mask Marth, and he says, Mask Marth, I use her any... Well, that's me that added that part. I use her for any team, really. She's pretty useful, so yeah. Well, not very helpful, is it? But I picked this because the set is very confusing. Because you run Fortress Def Res with a seal that requires your attack to be high, but you shaft it. Huh? Mystic Boost is obviously not a bad idea, but if you're going to go with a Gelforce set, I would say change the ace, change the, well, actually, no, that wouldn't even work. You'd have to get rid of Mystic Boost. It's so awkward. Geishan is a good weapon for just arena. If you use that weapon anywhere outside arena, it's not great. This set is kind of the type of set you kind of have to just redo completely. Ideally, what I would say is Heavy Blade, Gelforce Gensei, but if you keep that, switch the weapon to Sealed Falchion, because then, first off, you have an extra 2 might when you're at full HP. Makes Heavy Blade a hell of a lot more consistent. 2, change the B skill to Desperation, or I'm not sure if Mystic Boost could actually work. Because if you change the A skill to something like, say, Fury, you will take no damage. And you'll have more attack and speed for Heavy Blade. So that could be an option. Other than this, I guess it depends on the fight you're in. Because if you don't take enough damage, Mystic Boost will heal too much, which means you won't be able to just proc Gale Force, or rather, you won't be able to proc the Seal Falchion all that much, which means as a B skill, it kind of works against you. Yeah, this set is kind of just all working against each other. It's good for a unit that's meant to be a cheerleader, but outside of this, I don't see it. I suppose, ideally... Maybe just run Swift Sparrow, since Gale Force requires you to initiate anyway. Swift Sparrow with the Sealed Falchion, replace the B skill for something like... I guess a Chill could work. There's really not much option I can think of that's 240 SP skill. Desperation is not a bad option though with Sealed Blade, with Sealed Falchion even. Because that way you could just keep going, but Gale Force does not recharge itself consistently, which is a problem. So it's a kind of pick and choose situation. If you want her to be a tank, however, you want to get rid of Gale Force completely. What I would say is run the Bond Falchion, and with the Bond Falchion, get rid of Heavy Blade and Gale Force. I would say run Attack Def Bond as your Seal skill. That way you push your attack up to 57 and 39 def. As for the 55 attack and 39 def. Fortress Def Rest can still stay. It's not really consistently helpful for her, but it's a thing. The special skill could be either Blue Flame or Bonfire. It comes down to what you feel more comfortable with. Other than that, there's not much to say. I'd say this is pretty much all I have to say. So, let's move on. Alright, this is Lowrider 925's Valter, who he finally ended up plus 10ing. He has reached maximum power. I usually run him in a flyer or mixed team, so I can give him a few buff here and there. Also, he has support with New Year Guntra. He has Gale Force as well for if I want to do a Heavy Blade setup. But it's also super fun, proccing 23 damage on Bonfire with every combat. Unboosted. So, yeah, there's not much to say here. It's just a pretty solid set. I'd say Attack Res Bond, what the fuck? Brazen Attack Res might be a bit better for him. He's definitely more of a Brazen type, and attack speed, well, Brazen attack speed might be much. It really comes down to the team comp. If you don't have a way to give him 6 attack, 6 speed, then Brazen attack speed is ideal. Well, it's mostly the speed, because if you're buffed to 47 speed, 47 speed is enough to double most units. Brazen attack speed kind of becomes overkill then. So you can actually change it for, say, another Brazen Attack Def or Brazen Attack Res, or have Brazen Attack Def as the A skill and Brazen Attack Res as the Seal skill. Because, well, you don't really need the speed at that point. But if you don't have access to Own Flyer, Brazen Attack Speed becomes ideal. It really comes down to the situation and what you want. You could also switch the Seal skill for Heavy Blade and the special to Ignis, That way you can just hit, get hit, and proc Ignis. But that's the kind of set that you can't really run with Desperation, so... It's more of an arena set than, you know, everywhere else set. Other than this, I don't have much to say. This is just a solidly built unit. Moving on to Tally Host 22's Ninian. I'm never sure what number are at the end of those names, god damn it. This is something I've recently been messing around with. I wanted to build Ninian for an infantry pulse AR defense team, and this is what I came up with. Some sort of Spectrum stance trying to patch up our low average bases. IVs are res plus, used to be attack minus, lol. Alright, so one thing when it comes down to Ninian, if you're going to be building Ninian, she's going to be purely supportive. You do not want to give a shit about her attack stat. You want to give a shit about her speed, def, and res. Because the thing with Ninian is her attack is so low, it's kind of hard to work with. However, when it comes down to her support capability, that shit counts, and the fact that her bulk can be decent, that's also something you want to work with. As a result, Darting Stance is not a bad idea, but Fierce Stance kind of just does nothing for you. It's an extra 6 attack, you jump to 44 attack, what are you going to kill with this? You get what I mean? 44 attack is just too low to do anything. Even against a red that's weak to it, it's like maybe 10 damage all of the time. Well, no, it's more than that, but you're not going to get kills all that much, is what I mean. It's all about her survivability, which, I mean, if you've seen what my Olivia is capable of, you'd know this can be pretty good. So what I would say is, well, it really depends on how all out you want to go about it. Because if you want to go all out about it, you could just go for Fortress Def Res as the A skill. The Seal skill is fine. Her speed is kind of lacking, so jumping it to 43 makes it harder for it to get doubled. And with Fortress Def Res and Water Breath, you're basically looking at 35 defense and 42 res, which is not bad. Another alternative, if you think your speed is enough, or you have a buff into speed, well, also obviously Water Breath is only for physical, but whatever, close enough, would be to change Darting Stance to Steady Stance. I believe that's also a seal. Or you could go with Attack Def Bond if you feel like you want to have extra attack anyway. Steady Stance is what I would go with personally though. So Steady Stance with Fortress Def Res, you're basically looking at a bare minimum of 35-36 across the board, and if you're dealing with melee foes, that's 41-42. You become really bulky then, and very similar to my Olivia. So you can just keep pushing toward this. If you have Dragon Flowers on top of this, which should be fairly cheap to get the Def and Rest point as well as HP. First off, Infantry Pulse will work more consistently, and second, well, that's just more defense and res. And also possibly speed if you want to go for that. Escape Route is not a bad option. Personally, I prefer Wings of Mercy, but she can definitely pull out Escape Route. It's just that if you go for a bulky set, getting in Escape Route range becomes a bit cumbersome, doesn't it? So Wings of Mercy might be a bit better then. As for the rest, that looks fine. That looks fine. So let's move on. This is Iris's Res Plus Naui, and she or he says, I don't know. I'm guessing a she, but who knows. My Naui is plus res, and she's mostly paired up with my Akai, who has even and odd defense wave to reach that 40 defense. What the fuck? Why did I say 44? Since she has so much HP, I decided to put on Water Boost on her as well. In total, if all the res buff go into effect, she'll have 52 res. Water boost, eh? Boy. Alright, so ideally, I would go for a mixed tank set. I mean, that's basically what this is, isn't it? You have 44 res and 40 defense. No, actually, 40-48. So attack def bond might be a great idea since you anyway put her next to Hawkeye all the time. Which means you'd be pushed to 45 defense and 48 res. Actually, you miscalculated. Water boost is 6, out-res wave is 6. You get 4 for Warding Breath. So... wait, 6, 12, 14. That's 52 res. Oh no, you did say 52. For some reason I thought you said 54. Huh. Anyway, so out-res wave and warding... actually, wait, no. Out-res wave, water breath, warding breath. That is 54 res. So, no, that's 54 res. But let's remove water boost because attack def bond. So you end up with 45 defense and 48 res. Consistently as well. And on top of that, you buff your attack to 55. Attack being one of your bigger problem here. 50 attack is a bit low, and Lightning Breath is the type of breath that, while not bad, also lack the attack stat pretty hard. So, yeah, I would just say switch the seal to attack def bond. You become a better mixed tank. It's also harder for you to just lose HP in general, and you do more damage. The rest looks fine though. It's pretty standard and it works. What can I say? It works. Water boost is the type of skill that's kind of a problem in general though. Like, you do have the HP for it, but when you go in PVM, like high-end PVM, enemies tend to have 80 HP, so water boost is out of the question. And in PvP, after one fight, your HP is too low for it to proc consistently. So it's like, well, that's cool. But not really helpful is the problem. That's why I'm saying attack def bond is a lot better. The condition is easier to fulfill and it gives more stats where it matters. So, yeah. Let's move on. Alright, so this is Speedster McGee, also known as Ogie. Ogie's Silica. Speed Plus, of course, and he says... after she procs, she has an instant glimmer thanks to Special Spiral. With Fury, she can get into Brazen range faster. Her ally support is Deirdre. So, first off, Flashing Blade Special Spiral. Ouch. Not really a good move, is it? Second, if that's what you're going to go for, Desperation is just better. Desperation will just do everything you're doing, but better. Because, well, okay, there's two problems here. You have too much HP because of the summoner support, so you don't get in Brazen range instantly anymore. Unless you get Fury 4 down the line, which would be a good idea, because with Fury 4 you take 8 damage, Ragnarok takes 5, so you take 13 damage, you get instantly in Brazen range. So that's a good idea. As something to summon for when he comes back on a banner, which should be... talking about Grail here. Should be in 2 or 3 months. Fury 4 will just open a lot of things for you. Second, I would say... just... why? Switch Special Spiral to Desperation, obviously. Anyway, you have 49 base speed, even without odd speed wave. 49 is overkill. So get that shit out, also. Just because it does not really help you. Hell, I would go with say, Drive Attack for your party at that point. It just does not help you. And honestly, there's really nothing that can really help her outside of, I guess, Odd Attack Wave. If you run Desperation and you have Fury 4, you'll be able to just hit Desperation hit Desperation instantly, and then once you're in Desperation, you just get a hit in, and then the second one that goes in, you proc Glimmer, and then you just do a lot of damage. That's just what it is. As is, you have 59-49 from the get-go. I know you still have flowers to go through, so that's going to jump to 60-50. And if you go for Fury 4, that's 61-51. Your speed, again, is overkill. And the weapon refine gives you 7 attack and 7 speed on top of this. So you have 68-58. I don't know what you're trying to double at this point, but it's really overkill. Honestly, if you get another Celica and that said Celica is attack plus, go for that over speed plus. It actually does so much more sense. It actually provides you points where it matters way more than speed, because even with just attack plus, you have 55 speed at that point. And 48 speed from the get-go, which is still too much. After the first fight, you'd be in Brazen, so... Odd attack wave or even attack wave would be more helpful for you, because at the end of the day, the most important stat for her is really just attack. Or def and res are fine. It's just really switch to Desperation, Fury 4, and change the C skill for, I guess, even attack wave, or anything that buffs your attack, because you just don't need that much speed. And I remember clearly you saying also, like, I'm waiting for, I think, Brazen speed def, and I was just so confused. Like, you have to understand, Ogi, this is Celica, okay? She's not supposed to be Sonic the Hedgehog. God damn it. But yeah, just try to tone down the speed and try to worry about the stuff that actually matters for her. Because as she is, she's already more than fine. You don't have to go all the way with speed. So, yeah. Let's move on. This is Classy Otaku's Tybarn, and she says, Speed plus Tybarn time. He's mostly run in my AR team, both defense and offense. General idea is he attack, Gale Force procs, and attacks again. Gets dance and attack again, so hopefully going through 3 unit or 2 and retreating. Though once I merge him all the way, he'll be showing up in arena now and again. I'm not sure who would be a good partner for him in the 4-star pool that I could build up. I think ideally I would want Kaden or Mordecai, but I don't have them. Any ideas? I mean, there's literally one beast unit in the 4 to 5-star pool, and it's quite literally one of his best partner, Rayson. Rayson has 3 movements, so you can actually keep up with Tybarn. So say your Tybarn goes in, hits something, but doesn't quite kill it. Or it has something like Guard. Well, Rayson can just jump in and whoop! Dance the guy, and then the guy just go kill something in the background. And then procs Gale Force on top of it, if possible. It gives you more option, but more importantly, it also heals you. Now, I know you have Desperation in your set, and I know I've also showcased him with Desperation when I did my banner analysis, but now I do feel like that actually hurts him more than it helps. The thing is, Desperation is cool and all, but it just goes hit, hit, and then you have 4 charge out of 5. You don't get the proc. That can become a problem. So it's better to have a B skill that does not have Desperation-like properties. Shield attack, which he comes with, is not bad, but ideally, again, as I said before, Mystic Boost is a good option because it keeps his HP high, so he can go through more units without just getting killed on the second one. And that's where that's really the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Him living. And I would say easily Rayson is his best partner because, again, that's another way for him to heal. Because since he can just heal back up, you have more chance to kill whatever you're dealing with without having to retreat back into a healer or something similar. So, yeah, Mystic Boost is probably your best option. C-Skill Attack Smoke is fine. I'd say it's pretty fine. The rest is looking pretty much about right. Yeah, not much else to say. Actually, no, I have something I would like to say. Attack Death Bond might be ideal also for his A skill when dealing with enemy phase. So, say you basically kill all the mage, and then all that's around you are death tanks. Well, that's a way to heal yourself back. Well, not to heal yourself back up, but to live long enough to see another day, to put it simply. Unless there's something like Bolt Fighter Ignis, because fuck that. But yeah, I think that sounds about right. So now let's move on to our last unit. It's already been 15 minutes. This is Sunbug's Nephany, Death Plus. And he or she says, if I can find it, there you go. Nephany, my most invested 5-star exclusive. She's seen me through some tough battle, even being able to solo a few by herself. He or she also mentioned the extra info, which are just the other party members that are typically used with her. I don't know what seal skill is meant to be used on Morgan, so, you know. But this sounds about right. Both Veronica and Morgan can debuff enemies in attack and speed, which makes it easier for her to take hits. Though I would say I would not use Fury. I would use Brazens. Nephany has the kind of stat line that's just really ideal in general. Just to get your not just to get your stats up, but to just get in Brazen range fairly easily. She has the death stat. She has a decent-ish attack, and Attack Death Bond just kind of pushes that further. Her speed is good enough, and her weapon fixes whatever bit of speed problem she has. So really, at the end of the day, the only thing she really struggles with is, well, damage, outside of 4 armored units, of course. So, Morgan could, for one, use Drive Attack as the seal. Not too sure what he's meant to run for himself, but I'd say that's what I would run on him if I'm mostly trying to support Nephany. I would run Attack Death Bond, Brazen Attack Death. My brain is dead because it's fucking 4 AM. I got work in 3 hours. If you get rid of the seal, you could just run Brazen Attack Speed. That's also an option, because you'd lose 2 speed from that, you'd lose 3 speed from Fury, you'd be at 37 speed. So at that point, it might be a good idea to get Brazen Attack Speed. If you have Brazen Attack Speed, that means your speed is going to be at 44 and 48 on enemy phase, of course. And then your attack would be jumping up to 56. And then if you run in your seal skill, say, oh, Brazen Attack Death, for example, you jump to 48 defense. That becomes a lot more interesting all of a sudden. And your attack is at 63. 69 with Attack Tactic. That's where it gets pretty cool, because then your attack is high enough that Glimmer does actual damage better than Moonbow. Yeah, that sounds about right. Other than that, there's really not much to do. There's also a set you could run with Steady Breath. If you run Steady Breath instead of Fury, you could go with Bonfire instead of Glimmer. Bonfire with, oh, I don't know, 45 base def, and then you run attack def, a brazen attack def for that 52 def. So you have 36 damage when you're in Wrath range, and you're just get hit, proc, get hit, proc, get hit, proc. Even if you don't hit Wrath immediately, you do so much damage anyway in a lot of cases that you can just kill them outright anyway. And it combos into Dauntless Lance pretty well. Hell, ideally, you know what? I would say instead of Brazen Attack Def, you could also run Attack Def Bond, because that's... You get to actually use the extra damage from start to finish. It doesn't matter what your HP threshold is, as long as you have someone next to you. So that could also be a really good option. But yeah, outside of that, I think that about sums it up. And that concludes this Show Me Your Build. I'll be doing another Show Me Your Build next month, about the same time, but yeah. Hope to see plenty of submissions, and I'll see you all on Discord or in the comments. Have a nice one, everyone.